What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Bert, and today we're back with one of the newer decks in my stable. Hailing from one of the commander decks from the Tarkir Dragonstorm set, it's Betor, Ancestor's Voice. I also have to thank Wizards for making me an MTG ambassador for the set. This has provided me with some previews of the set so that I can bring you this video for you folks at home in a timely fashion. Let's get right into the deck. Betor, Ancestor's Voice is a 5 mana, 2 and Abzan, white, black, and green for a 3/5 flying lifelink spirit dragon with the following text. At the beginning of your end step, put the number of +1/+1 counters on up to one other target creature you control equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn. Return up to one target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you've lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. I am in awe at this ability as it gives our commander that cares about not only life gain, but also those life loss cards in those colors. See, the key to this deck is going to be finding that balance between life gain and life loss so that we can make astonishing amount of counters on our creatures while making our deck super recursive by reanimating stuff out of our graveyard. As always, with the commander's effect in mind, we can go over the gameplay loop for Betor. Our primary gameplay loop this time around is to play cards that gain life and lose life to create advantage over our opponents so that we can make the most out of Betor's trigger at the end of turn. With our gameplay loop in mind, let's go over our veggies starting with ramp this time around. Our ramp package is pretty standard this time around. One of the cards that especially stands out, however, is Tarkir Dragonstorm. Steve will do some work in this deck as it's a cheap creature reanimate with Betor's ability, and allowing us to sacrifice it to get more lands into play. Aside from that, we have Delighted Halfling that comes down early and works as a counterspell protection for our legendary spells. After which we have our typical ramp in the form of Farseat, Nature's Lore, and Skyshroud Claim. In the honorable mention, we have some token generators, specifically treasures, in the form of Lotho, Corrupt Sheriff, and Black Market Connections. These will make treasures pretty early and can give us some color fixing. Our only source of artifact ramp in this list is going to be Soul Ring. The ramp package here is pretty concise, but I think the amount of draw we have smooths out the draw so that we can get consistent land drops. Speaking of draw, let's get into it next. So to get started, I already have included two of my favorite cards in the card draw section, which are going to be Night's Whisper and Painful Truths. These two draws cards and do double duty in this deck, losing us life that we can get creatures back from the yard. Night's Whisper is going to lose us 2 life, Painful Truths is typically going to lose us 3. Then we have Sylvan Library, and again mentioning Black Market Connections here, providing us some life loss opportunities and cards. The biggest winner in this category though is going to be Necropotence. This card is a powerhouse and allows us to pay 1 life per card, which is an amazing rate. Timna the Weaver, Dark Confidant, and Darkstar Augur all let us get cards by paying life, which is what we love to see. Let's talk about the kind of card draw that gains us life though. So we're running both Disciple of Bolas and Disciple of Freyalise. With those counters from Betor, we're going to be able to buff up our creatures to astronomical levels. Another card that draws us cards is Exemplar Light. When this creature sees us gain life, we put a counter on it, and whenever we put a counter on it, we draw a card. However, this does only trigger once per turn. Last but definitely not least, we have the Great Henge rounding out our package, buffing our creatures and gaining us a bit of life over the game. Let's go over removal next. Removal is a simple package as well. We have the typical Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, Assassin's Trophy to start us off, and then we also move into Deadly Rollick, Fellow Profane, Snuff Out, and Withering Torment. Again, Snuff Out and Withering Torment doing double duty by helping us lose some life. It's a feature in this deck, not a bug. That's the basis for our removal package, but I'm also running Vona, Butcher of Magan, which allows us to pay 7 life to destroy target non-land permanent. This, however, can only be activated during our turn, but thankfully she has not only lifelink, but vigilance as well. That rounds out our removal package. Let's get into the spice. Here in the spice section, I like to cover some of my favorite cards and overperformers. To start, I would like to talk about Bloodthirsty Conqueror. This card is a dynamo on the deck and will definitely continue to be a playmaker. Bloodthirsty Conqueror is a 5 mana, 3 black for a 5/5 flying Death Touch Vampire Knight with the following text. Whenever an opponent loses life, you can gain that much life. This triggers a lot, so be sure that you're paying attention as the reminder text says. Damage causes life loss. So any damage that your opponent takes will trigger this absolute beast of a creature. It also works extraordinarily well with lifelink, as you will gain the life from the lifelink, then there's a trigger, and you will gain the life from the Bloodthirsty Conqueror as well, so you're doing double duty yet again. Our next spice pick is another powerhouse. We're talking about Angel of Thune here. Flying, lifelink, and whenever you gain life, put a +1 counter on each creature you control. This has the potential to buff our creatures just as much as Betor does, but providing it into our whole team instead of just one creature. Again, having those incremental life gain triggers makes this card sing. Last but definitely not least, we have a Betor at the top of our curve, and that's none other than Sire of 7 Deaths. Keyword Soup doesn't even do this card justice. It kind of feels like the old infomercials that I used to see as a kid. It slices, it dices, it blocks, and it takes counters extraordinarily well. This card is going to be a powerhouse and our opponents are going to shudder at the thought of it. Let's get into some playtest hands, shall we? So basically in the playtest section, we are going to go over a hand, and I'll tell you what my thought process is behind the hand and whether or not I would keep it or send it back. And I typically play till about turn 5, so we'll see. Alright, so our opening hand is Temple Garden, Soul Warden, Verdant Catacombs, Command Tower, Angel of Indemnity, Assassin's Trophy, and Black Market Connections. This is actually a really good hand. We have 3 lands, a source of card advantage, card draw, and a life gain effect. So I would actually snap keep this. We would be in multiplayer, so we would draw. Our first card is going to be a Savannah, and so I will play the Command Tower, and then I would play Soul Warden. That's turn 1. And then turn 2, we drew Eternal Witness. We would play, since we don't have a turn 2 play, let's Verdant Catacombs go down to 39 and then go and get our Triumph. The Triumph's going to help us get our colors, and we don't really get a tempo hit here because we don't have anything to play on turn 2. Alright. Turn 3. So turn 3, we draw. It's a Sky Shroud Claim. That's pretty good for the next turn. Let's play Savannah and then tap 3, and we're going to play a Black Market Connections. And then we would pass to turn 4. We draw. It's an Esper Sentinel. That's actually pretty good for us. After we draw, we have a trigger from Black Market Connections. So we would make a treasure, draw a card, and then make a... I don't think we make the Shapeshifter. So we would just draw a card and create a treasure, make a treasure. We would play Temple Garden, and then I've lost 3 life this turn, 5 life this turn with the Temple Garden. So I think we would actually not play Betor here because we don't have anything to get out of the yard, but we will Sky Shroud Claim. We'll get a Bayou, and I don't think I have any other green white lands. So Bayou, and I guess Lush Portico so we can see what we can get into the yard. Forest. This is turn 4. So let's sack the treasure to play the Esper Sentinel. Oh, sorry, I forgot my trigger. Let's Lush Portico, put this Soul's Attendant in yard, play Esper Sentinel, put the treasure mana, then I will pass turn. Now we have a lot of mana set up on turn 5. So here, would untap, upkeep, draw, drew a Boseiju, and then we trigger here. We would draw a card, create a treasure, and then let us play Underground Mortuary. We can put Lothar in the yard, and then we can pay 5 for Betor, triggering Soul Warden. And then we can keep the 2 mana up for the Assassin Trophy in our hand, and we can move to our end step. We'll put the counters on first, so we'll put 1 counter on Esper Sentinel, and then get Lothar back from the yard. So now whenever a player casts their second spell, we get a treasure, which is going to ramp us. So right now we have a pretty good engine going. If somebody destroys something besides our Betor, we can get it back. Thanks to the black market connection, we can pay up to 6 life. We actually have a Soul's Attendant in the yard, which we can get back with several effects. And yeah, this was a pretty good test hand. We have the engines that we want going. And so yeah, let's get back into the bracket talk and the future of the deck. So when it comes to brackets, this deck fits into the bracket 3 section, as there's only one game changer, which is the One Ring, no 2-card combos or mass land denial. I think it's powerful enough to play with the low 4 tier, but it can be a little bit flexible in those pots. This particular deck actually took the spot of my Ikra Shadiki and Timna deck that I've had for a while. I had to revamp it to match Betor a bit better, but overall I love this shell and it makes for some amazing play patterns. As always, for my personal decks, I would give them a grade based on the following rubric. S means I love the deck and its gameplay loop, and I feel that the cards in the deck have solidified their place. A means I love the deck and the gameplay loop, but the cards can be swapped out and made for improvements. B means I love the idea of the deck, but the gameplay loop is a bit unfamiliar due to a lack of games. And C means I'm mid on the deck and the gameplay loop hasn't excited me for a while. Betor is currently sitting at an S. It was basically my Ikra Shadiki and Timna deck with some upgrades. The cards have solidified their place and I really enjoy playing it. Well, that's going to be my Betor deck. Thanks again to Wizards for making me an MTG ambassador for this set so I can get Betor early to show y'all this deck. What do you think about it? And what are some cards that you put on your Betor list? Remember, if you liked the video, to give it a thumbs up, a like, and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.